Morning, everybody. So I'm going to take a minute. I'm going to break down my JSP Maltmill and show you how it's assembled, and also show you how to maintain it. This is the original bin, which I don't use. These are the original sides, which I don't use as well. I made a plexiglass container for it. There's the Maltmill. This is this side. This is the AA version, so it has both sides of the static roller are adjustable. So we'll start by removing the adjustable side screws. Now I used a plexiglass frame for this, and in doing that, these screws were not long enough to go through. So in order to account for that, what I did is I put a BB in each one of these holes. You could use a small bearing, anything. All those really do is hold this in place, so when you adjust this roller, it won't adjust on you while you're using it. Try and get those BBs to pop out. They're not popping out, but that's not a problem. Each side of this has a centric bearing, or SO-centric bearing. Not sure how to pronounce that, but it's offset a little bit. So those come out, and that allows this roller to come free. You can look inside of the roller there. You'll see there's a brass bearing on both sides. This is a solid milled roller. Now it's not the hardened steel. They do make that kind, but this one is not the hardened steel. So we'll set that to the side. There's our two bearings, and you can see I've already got a little bit of grease on that one from where I greased it a few weeks ago, but I decided to make this video, so I'm going to break it down and do it all over again. Pull my top plate off here. This is just the top plate where the hopper sits. I have a hole cut in that where I have my water bottle type hopper that I use there. On the front is just two Phillips screws. Pull that on. Pull that plate off. When you do that, now this side comes out. Each side comes out, and you can see there's a brass bearing there. I don't know if this shows up on the video or not. You may be able to kind of see there's the inside. I'm not doing a very good job of this, but inside of there's a the little bearing or BB that I used in there to help hold that set in place. So this has a press bearing. Sorry guys, I'm not very good at this camera work. This has a pressed brass bearing in here on this side. As well, the same on the other side. You see a press bearing in there as well. Once again, you'll see the milled end of that. This is the end where you attach your drill or your motor. I personally use a cordless drill. Run at about 400 to 500 RPMs. Seems to work quite well. Once again, this is another solid steel, not hollow at all. Start by cleaning the oil grease off. Like I say, mine's not in bad shape because I just did this a few weeks ago, so it hasn't really been used very much. Got a few Q-tips to kind of clean some of that out. Wipe all the old grease off. I'm not sure that the procedure for this may be the same with Monster mills and the Rebel mills, those type of mills. I just have never used one of those mills to compare it to. I know a lot of those are 3-roller mills too, so that could have some difference there. Once again, just trying to kind of clean out the old stuff. There's that BB or ball bearing that I used to fill that hole in. Push that one out as well. Got a quick wipe down here. And I apologize if any of this is getting off screen here. It's kind of hard for me to to watch that screen and do the actual work here. What I'm using to grease this with is something I use for my boat. It's just a little bit of triple gauge grease. You can also use a little bit of oil too, a little bit of 3-in-1 oil over the course of using this, so you don't have to break it down all the time. You can take these screws out and put a drop of oil on that S-eccentric bearing in there. That will help keep that lubed up. These bearings you can just kind of put a little drop of oil from the outside. It's fine. Just be careful when you remove these that this doesn't fall out, which can happen if you're not paying attention, or you have the mill picked up on its side or something. Just gonna put a little bit there, a little bit more. This is pretty sticky type of grease. On these, you can just put a little grease in that hole, spin that around a little bit. Try not to get it on your roller like I did there. I'll have to clean that off. Just a little bit on here. The money's worth out of that end of the Q-tip. Also too, on this here, this eccentric end of it, you can put a little bit of grease on this area too. This just allows it to turn a little more freely. Not something I adjust very often. I normally set it and forget it, so to speak. This other side. Trying not to get too much on there. I don't really want it getting gunked up. That's a little bit too much. Let's wipe some of that off. Just need a pretty thin layer on there. Now these have a witness mark on each end of this and on the plate. So you can set those witness marks. This end, as you can see, got a little bit too much grease on there. Just kind of wipe that off. Eventually what winds up happening is you get grain dust around that anyway, and when you get too much, it can just kind of glob it up there. I just align my witness marks just for assembly purposes, so you don't really have to. But now here you'll see those bearings, or BBs, that I'm using, ball bearings. Drop one of those in each side here. I do that because this is thicker than the plate that came with the mill. See the difference in those thicknesses? So it's not long enough. So pay attention. Screw that in there so my ball bearings don't fall out. I will tell you, if you ever decide to make a plexiglass enclosure for your mill instead of using the stock version, when you drill these holes, allow yourself a little bit of room, because once you get all this together, you kind of have to tweak it a little bit, or this bearing here can get pressed, so this can get pressed in so tight that this is very difficult to turn and kind of bind up on you. These screws back in place here. Top plate on. And there you go. Everything is greased up, ready to crush some grain. That's been my look at the JSP Maltmill breakdown and lube job. Have a good day.